Qatar 0, Ecuador 2. The opening World Cup match has really ended in favor of Ecuador. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? Rokani David is my name and this is Rokani Media Football, and obviously we'll always come in through and really tell you what we think about the World Cup games that have just ended, like this one opening. Tomorrow we are having a very huge one, Netherlands versus Senegal, then England versus Iraq, not England versus Iran, plus USA versus Wales. Those are three big games that we're going to come out and react to in here. Further today, if at all I'll get some good time, I'll go on and break down the game of England versus Iran and who do I believe should go on and start into that England starting 11 as far as we here on Rokani Media Football are concerned. But to me, as we jet into this game of football of Qatar 0, Ecuador 2, I've seen teams hosting the World Cup, but I've never seen a worse host in World Cup history than Qatar. He is the worst that I've ever seen. It's the worst team that I've ever seen. They never put their bodies in the line. The intensity was low. They had a lot of fans. It was Ecuador was playing 100% away because that entire pitch was filled with only and only Qatar fans. Remember, Qatar is one of the richest countries and their people are really rich, so they had to go on and really feel it. They have a population of like 2.5 million people in their country, and you can't tell me that they could fail or they couldn't afford to fill that stadium. They filled it. They were supportive, but the players laid their team down. Let me show you a little bit about this poor side that has ever hosted the game of football in there for you. To bring you up to speed, I've seen teams like Brazil host and they really entertained. I've seen teams like South Africa host, and remember, South Africa hosted the World Cup in 2010, and guess what happened? That game ended 1-1. They are playing Mexico, one of the better sides in world football. You know that very well. In 2006, it was Germany. They never disappointed. They won the opening game. In 2002, it was South Korea and Japan. Yeah, they also really put up a show. 2014 it was Brazil, it put up a show, and 2018 it was Russia. It put up a show also. In the opening game we enjoyed it, but this game was one-sided and we didn't enjoy it at all. Guys, what did you enjoy in this game apart from the goals? Because each and every time the game is one-way traffic, you don't enjoy because the first half really had glimpses, cameos, but nothing a lot that Qatar side could offer. In the third minute, obviously Antonio Valencia went in through and directed the acrobatic effort from his fellow countrymen into the mouth of the goal to nod into the back of the net, but VAR said it was offside and the goal was called off, and this is how we finished it. And the ball went in the back of the net, but VAR said no goal, and obviously that was ruled out by the referee. And a very further good explanation has been brought to us, and we now know why this goal was cancelled, and it was a valid call made by VAR in Qatar. And remember, VAR was first tested in the World Cup of Russia 2018, hence its approval, and obviously they went through to gate this into the levels of using it everywhere. After that, in the 15th minute, meaning that 12 minutes later, guess what happened? The goalkeeper of Qatar went for the leg of the captain, Valencia. If at all you don't know Valencia, he once played for West Ham in the Premier League. That is him being got by the goalkeeper, and the referee pointed in the spot. After pointing in the spot, guess what happened? He really laid the ball and sent the goalkeeper the wrong side, and it was 1-0 for Ecuador in the 15th minute. See him, he sent him the wrong side and obviously took it with ease into the back of the net. They went ahead to celebrate, and the Qatar players were so much let down and they were down in spirits. But before that goal came in through, you knew that it was coming, because after everything that really came up to do the needful in the game of a team which goes by the names of Qatar and Ecuador, they never even reorganized themselves. I thought that when you concede a goal and VAR really calls it off, that is like a wake-up call. That was like a wake-up call, and they didn't understand. They didn't understand and react to that. I believe Qatar is a team that really plays with a back five, and they always leave their opponents to have the ball. They make it hard for them to score, and obviously they go on and really hit them with the break. That is their opponents. But did they make it hard for Valencia to score? He almost scored 3 goals past them. So that is a team which goes by names of Ecuador. And obviously after that, as we approached the end of the second half, a second one came in through. That was an effort of carrying the ball from Casido. You know Casido very well. He plays for Brighton. He carried that ball, and then he gave that ball to another Ecuador player who really went in for an early cross, and obviously Valencia headed it home into the back of the net to make it 2-0 by first half, and it was really a storming header coming in from Valencia. And after that, this side of Qatar went ahead to concentrate on fouling the players of Ecuador, to an extent that Valencia got off the pitch, and you see him here holding his knee, and they showed us Valencia sat onto the dugout of Ecuador while having an icing onto his knee, meaning that he might have sustained a very huge injury courtesy of the fouls of these players of Qatar. They had no plan. I believe if I'm the federation I'm the chairperson or the president of the Federation of Qatar, this is supposed to be the last tournament for the coach of Qatar, because they've put in a lot of money, they've brought in players, they've groomed these players close to how many years back, because they got these players and they groomed them, and they really did great. But look at all this time they've been preparing for this since 2010. 12 years back they've been looking for this, but it never really happened. So the preparation went wrong according to me, but in the second half they came in through, they put in some cameos. They are not all that threatening, that's it. So Ecuador has gone ahead to win their game of football, and remember, in this group there is Senegal and Netherlands. Those two teams are the ones that we are seeing as favorites to go on and win this group. One will top and the other one will come second. But Ecuador has put itself into a situation of qualifying. Reason being, they have to go on and beat Senegal. If they beat Senegal, then everything will go on as planned. It depends on how many goals they'll score against Senegal, but it's going to be a very huge game. And the game the game of Senegal against Netherlands is the one that is really kickstarting off the morning, all in the morning. I don't know, is it morning or what? It's going to depend, but it's going to be the early kickstarter in Doha in there for you. So in just 31 minutes, Ecuador had sealed the game and everything was done and dusted. Now, let's see how the group is, not the group, let's see the match starts of this game of football. I believe they are really very, very, very unfriendly to Qatar. 5 shots by Qatar, 6 shots by Ecuador, 0 shots on target by Qatar. Imagine, this is why I've called them the poorest hosts of the World Cup. They never even had a shot on target. Shots on target by Ecuador 3, 47% ball possession by Qatar, and I was reading the stats. The stats that profile Ecuador as far as ball possession is concerned. The best they've registered is 49%, meaning that they leave the ball to the opponent and they hit them on the break, and they're really the champions, the reigning champions of the they are the reigning champions of the Asian Cup. That's it. So Ecuador had 53%, 434 passes completed by Qatar, 486 passes completed by Ecuador, 80% passing accuracy by Ecuador, 84% passing accuracy by Ecuador. Qatar is 80%, Ecuador has 84%. 15 fouls to both sides, 4 yellow cards to Qatar, 2 to Ecuador, 0 red cards, and 3 offsides to Qatar, 4 offsides to Ecuador, 1 corner for Qatar and 3 for Ecuador. When you look at the table and how it's standing, obviously Ecuador is topping the table, 3 points, 1 game played and 2 goals. Netherlands, Senegal are second and third respectively, and Qatar is lying bottom with a -2 of goal difference and 0 points, meaning that tomorrow Netherlands versus Senegal is going to be that match that we are going to look at a lot and analyze how everything is going to go on. My man of the match, obviously, it's Valencia, scoring a brace. He's now scored 5 World Cup goals for his nation, that is Ecuador, and is the highest scoring player of Ecuador in the World Cup final tournament. So guys, who is your man of the match? Your reaction is welcome in the comment section below. That's what I managed to go on and compile for you in here onto the Rokani Media Football. Allow me leave it at that, and let's see what you're going to come up with in the next 1 or 2 hours. But Qatar 0-2 Ecuador, poorest side to host the World Cup according to me. May the Almighty Lord watch you over.